Okay, so I've been talking about this for a while, and that's getting back on the diet that I used to be on, that I lost a lot of weight on, and then I became a food channel and ballooned up nicely into a blimp. Don't worry, I'm not going to turn my channel into a keto channel, but from time to time I might share a recipe with you for those of you that are interested in how I'm achieving the weight loss and the foods that I eat to do that. Keto is kind of like a Atkins diet on steroids. You don't get to eat the bread, you got to stay off the carbs. It's mostly gluten-free, and you're supposed to do the whole 2-week thing where you don't eat any carbs and blah 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 blah. But here's the thing, I noticed that when you follow a fad diet so closely, you tend to fall off it. I mean, if you're that into it, once you cheat once, then you continue to cheat. So as I did on the last keto diet, I'm not going to do now. I'm not going to get all crazy, and airplanes are flying over. I don't know if that's coming through on the mic or not, but the air shows this weekend. I am going to go back on the diet. I did lose a lot of weight fast, and there are a lot of really good foods you can make to curb those cravings you get for like pizza and tacos, and there are some really good recipes. Are they the same thing? Of course not. They're nowhere near the same thing, but they are pretty good. And here's the thing, the recipes I make, my kids eat. So the true testament of anything being good or bad or tasting good or bad, a kid will tell you right away. Like when I make the keto cookies, I didn't expect my kids to really be into those. They liked them, but they said they could taste the sweeteners because you use Swerve, which is a granulated sugar that's not as it's not as crazy as like the saccharins and things like that, and it's not bad for you either. So in any case, today we're going to make keto pizza with what they call Fathead Dough. Now, all the recipes on YouTube that I've watched, they've been really adamant about food scales, and you don't need to do that. I just use measuring cups. This is one of those recipes that you don't have to be like completely precise on to get it right, and mine has a twist on it. Everybody has a twist. If you just make regular Fathead dough, you can really taste the almond flour in it. So, and an almond flour is not bad, but it's not something I want to taste strongly in my pizza dough. Now, the way I make this, I add some seasonings myself, and I pretty much kill that flavor for the most part, and my kids love it. So if my kids like it, and it's good for you, then it's something I'm going to do. Now, keto is gluten-free, which I never felt better in my life. About 2 or 3 months in, I started feeling really good, and all the issues I've had, health issues I've had, went away, because I've had these health issues before, but they went away when I was on the diet. So why I got stupid for a YouTube channel is beyond me. But hey, you know what? It was fun. Some people say you should have a cheat night or a cheat day, which is probably what I'm going to do, because let's face it, if I cut all the carbs out, but I only have the carbs I want to eat like once every 2 weeks, I'm still cutting out, 90% of the carbs that I normally ate, so I'm going to lose weight regardless. Anyway, this is about getting healthy again, so enough yammering on. Let's get on with it. I'm going to try, my kitchen's really small, so I'm going to try to position the camera to where you can see what I'm doing and so that I can explain what's going on. So let's do that now. Okay, so if you Google or YouTube a Fathead recipe dough, they're all going to tell you to mix the cheeses together, melt them, and then mix in the cauliflower, and then mix in the almond flour. That is a pain in the ass. So, and I'm gonna voice my opinion right here. I'm not doing keto because I like it. To me, I'll say it over and over again, and there will be people that argue with me on it. Keto sucks. And the reason why I say it sucks is because I have to do it to stay healthy, and other people don't. But it is what it is. Okay, so the first ingredient calls for 3 cups of mozzarella cheese. So I just got my mozzarella cheese from Walmart, and we're going to dig 3 cups out. Another thing you're not going to see me do on my channel is use the stupid keto apps. Okay, maybe they're not stupid. Maybe some people need them. I do not. If you go on keto and eat generally keto, you don't have to do that whole macro counting thing on the app. I mean, if you want to do it, more power to you. I never needed to do it. And in 4 months, I lost over 60 pounds. So the next ingredient is 4 tablespoons of cream cheese. Now, I just use hard Philadelphia cream cheese, and it has the measurements on the side for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm just going to cut it with my knife. Sometimes I put a little extra, just, I don't know, just to show you that they don't need to do all that. Now so this melts easy in the microwave, and then yes, you're going to use microwave. I cut my cream cheese into little chunks and just kind of sprinkle them around in here. Oh, here's what I didn't do. Before I put the cream cheese in, I literally just pulled it back off. Yes, my hands are clean. This does call for 1.5 cups of almond flour. Now, if you have almond flour, I keep mine in the fridge because it keeps better and keeps longer. But if, oh, I just broke my measuring cup. Wow, I've had that forever. Anyway, almond flour really needs a sifter. So I put that there, and then get 1/2 cup. That there. My sifter's seen better days, but the reason why I sift it is because almond flour gets these really chunky. Get it all sifted out. So now, here's where I differ from them. They all say to mix the 2 cheeses and stick it in the microwave, melt it and stir it up, and then add in the almond flour. That is a pain in the ass. I don't know why they do that. I add the almond flour, and now I mix it into my cheese. And here's where I differ from everybody else. At this point, everybody adds the cheese and they mix all this stuff together. This is how they make their dough. I don't like that. I add 2, sometimes more, tablespoons of Italian seasoning. Maybe 2.5. It just depends on your taste. And then I add a tablespoon of whole oregano. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I stir all this in. Just try to get it incorporated in there pretty good. It's going to get messy here in a minute, what we got to do to make this into a dough. And then I'll throw my cream cheeses that I've sliced on top. And the reason why I slice them is because they just melt quicker and easier. Now, everybody differs on this point too. I love cream cheese. Yes, I just stuck a sharp knife in my mouth. Everybody says put it in the microwave for a minute and melt it, put it in the microwave 2 minutes and melt it. It never works for me, and I have a pretty decent Samsung microwave. So basically what I do is I put this in for, it usually takes me anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes. I put it in for a minute. If it's starting to melt, I pull it out, mix it up a little bit, and then I put it in for another minute until I get it into a decent consistency to where I can mix it all together. And that's going to be the messy part. So let's go ahead and get it in the microwave. While I'm waiting for that to melt, if you decide to go on this diet, you will be investing a lot in parchment paper. Because most of the stuff that we make, including the cookies, which I will show at some point, are made on parchment paper, including this pizza dough that I'm making for my keto pizza. Alright, I put it in for another minute, 10 seconds, and here's where it's about to get ugly. I got it all mixed together. As you can see, it forms like a soft, it doesn't really, I don't know how to explain the consistency. I mean, you want everything mixed in there really good, and then, here comes the fun part. We're going to drop in 2 eggs. We're just going to drop them in there, and be careful, this is really hot. Try not to get shells in your. And this is where you're going to notice it gets really hard to mix the egg in. And this is where it's going to get gnarly because you got to get your hands in here. It's really the only way to mix fathead doughs, is what this is called. So the best thing to do is to get your hands just a little bit wet. Just a little bit of water because it's really sticky. It won't hurt anything. Just get in there and mix it. Keep in mind, it's really kind of warm. Whew. It's hot. And then you want to knead it really good. So make sure it's mixed really, really good. Now, most of the channels I see make one pizza out of this one large pizza. I can actually get 2 pizzas out of it. I make a large one and a small one, or a medium size. I don't have a brick or round pan, so I use square. Make sure you keep your hand just a little bit wet, and then you can really, and it forms kind of a pizza dough. It's really weird. And we're going to plop it over here onto this. And I just knead it a little bit more. You'll feel it start to stiffen up, and that's where you don't want to lose it, because as it cools it gets harder and harder. And it will be harder and harder to form, which is what we're going to do next. Now, I basically just make a ball and cut it in half. And I get 2 pizzas out of it. There we go. We'll bring this over here. And here's what we're going to do. Now, a lot of people pinch this between 2 parchment papers and roll it out. I don't get all crazy. I just keep my fingers wet and I just form it the way I want to form it. Now, obviously I'm not going to make a round pizza, but this stuff will keep stretching, and you want it to be, you really want it to be no more than a 1/4 inch thick, because it won't bake right. Oh, by the way, make sure you preheat your oven to 400 degrees, which I didn't do. Now I'm going to keep molding this. My parchment paper wants to slide around on me. Keep my hands a little bit wet. And you'll see this is a large cookie sheet. And I'll stretch this baby way out, hopefully. I might not, it just depends on the mood I'm in today. I just keep pushing it until I get it to where I want it. It smells really good in here. You can really smell the Italian seasonings and the oregano. That's pretty good. I'd say that's about an eighth of an inch thick. We'll grab the next one. And we'll start on this one. Now, does this taste like pizza dough? No. Is it an acceptable alternative? I think so. Remember the old school days when Little Caesars, if you had them where you lived, used to give you 2 square pizzas when you ordered one? And it came on a cardboard sheet and you got 2 squares. That's what I'm doing. I'm making 2 Little Caesar square keto pizzas. So they're going to go into a preheated oven at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. And then you're going to pull them out and make a pizza. We're going to slide these into a properly preheated oven at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. This one, because it's so thick, I might have to flip it once, which I've never done, so it might be something new. Alright, now we're going to pop these babies out of here. Let you get a look what they look like. Come out, you can see the, turn the damn timer off. Browning around the edges a little bit. Brown a little on top, that's alright. We'll leave the oven on 400 degrees. And now, the fun begins. Now, the main carb you're going to get out of this is from the tomato sauce, because let's face it, tomatoes are a fruit and they're full of carbs. And I've looked the macros up myself and all this, and it works out to about 2 carbs per slice that you eat. which is a hell of a lot less than the 14 or 20 that you normally get. I use Rayo's. It has total sugar is 3 grams. So, and that's per serving, obviously. And now, the fun part. I've shaken it up. I spread a little tomato sauce. That might have been a bit much. That'll work. I don't like chunks. That's going right away. Oh, look. Damn tomato chunks. I like the sauce, but I don't like chunks of tomato. It's like getting a blood clot to me. It's gross. We spread the sauce. This needs to be refrigerated after open, so it'll go in there. And now, fun part. Alright, now, personally, my favorite pizza on the planet is pepperoni, so we're just going to go with pepperoni today. I have put salami, I have put, I've made supremes, I've put bell pepper and mushrooms and beef, sausage and all that on there, but this week, I am just doing pepperoni pizza. Canon, are you listening? I will get an EOS R with the proper lens. I'm hearing the 90D is a pretty good camera now. Alright, so we're done with pepperoni. And then we'll do a light hazing of cheese. And I know the thing I noticed about these pizzas is if I go to a regular pizza place like Metro, which is my favorite in town, and I order a pizza, I can eat damn near half the pizza by myself. These pizzas are surprisingly filling, so, and the slices are a lot smaller, so I might get 2, maybe 2.5, 3 slices of this down before I'm full, which is good, because then I'm not hungry. And this is 100% gluten-free, and it tastes really good. Does it taste like a real pizza? It tastes very close. Very similar. Nothing will ever beat the original. Okay, so now we're going to pop these back in the oven for another 10 minutes until the cheese is all melted, and we'll be done. And now, as you listen to the wonderful sounds of Ferrari racing in the background, we're going to pull them out. And there you have beautiful keto pizza. We're gonna let, oh, I changed my shirt because it's like 1,000 degrees in my kitchen right now. We're gonna let these set for a minute and then we're gonna cut them and I'm gonna give them a shot. They look amazing. They usually taste pretty good. I'll be honest with you, they look a hell of a lot better than they taste, but hey, concessions, healthy. See you in a second. Now, the part you've all been waiting for. This is a little bit thinner slice, so it is a little flimsy, but that is delicious. Holy cow, this is so good. That is how you make a keto pizza. Now get out of my kitchen.